All right, this next video, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about rider balance and rider conformation, riding etiquette, let's say. So the whole basis of all this is just basic traditional horsemanship, cavalry style, just like the old days. So the concept that we're going to talk about here is just how you would learn in Europe or at the Spanish school, let's say, where if you were a recruit in the cavalry 150 years ago, this is how they taught you how to ride a horse. And what we have found is that if you employ these principles and these basics, your horses can do anything. I don't care if you're an inventor or a cowboy shooter, it doesn't matter. You got to learn how to guide your horse, and you got to learn how to get along with your horse. And a lot of that has to do with how you guide him and how you ask to do things. And something I've said 1,000 times, and I'll say it once more: your horse will never be polite unless you're first polite. So we have to learn to ask for things and not demand things. So when we want our horse to respond to us, we want him to give it to us rather than us take it from him. Okay, so before you get on the simulator and before you get on a horse, you got to get your thought process right there. We're not taken from him, he's given to us. And I think if you start out with that objective, you'll succeed and do well. I think the biggest problem people get in with horses is they get forceful, they get in a hurry, and they start trying to demand the horse do things and force him to do things. The horse doesn't know why he's doing what he's doing, and then that's when everybody gets in a pickle and things just don't work out for them. So to move forward, what we're going to do today is we're going to start out with our simulator here that we made here. It's homemade, nothing fancy, but it works very well. This is Cerise, our instructor here at Windy Hill Farm, and this is our friend Suzanne that has volunteered her time to help us demonstrate this procedure that we go through here to help prepare folks to ride, which I think will be very beneficial. Be patient and just sit down and watch this and enjoy it. This is an accumulation of about 35 years on my part to get to this point, so maybe in 20 minutes we can tell you what it's taken me 20 years to learn. So we've read a lot of books about it, but we've also applied these principles and they work very well. And I think that you'll find it worth your time to watch this. So with that, I'm going to step aside and let Cerise take over, and Suzanne, and we're going to simulate this just like we would if Suzanne was here for a boot camp, and we're going to get her prepared to ride.
I just wanted to check if there was anything ouchie in your shoulders, and if not, we'll proceed. So you're going to come over here and hold these for me, okay? Okay, so the first part of our biomechanic thinking process is we want to make sure that our horses feel comfortable with us just simply getting on them. We get to deal with a lot of horses that feel uncomfortable with their riders mounting, and therefore we get mounting issues, and the horse doesn't like to have you get on. So I want you to think about what it feels like for the horse. So those two rings are going to simulate the horse's shoulders, and you're going to get the chance to feel the weight of me getting on the saddle properly versus improperly. So because we deal with a lot of Western riders, we're going to deal with working with this horn. So unfortunately, a lot of people, when they first see a horn, they want to grab onto it. And because of that, it's just this big old fulcrum lever that pulls you over. So we're going to try our very best to avoid using it whatsoever. It's not there as a handle, as I'm sure you know. So what a lot of riders do improperly is when they go to get on a horse, they're looking over at this big beautiful horse over here, and they're not paying attention to where they're headed. And that changes our body shape, so we go from looking forward where we're going to blocking our horse and pushing them away with our energy. So to properly mount, what I want you to do when you get on is to take a look at that left ear, quote unquote. Place your hand on your pommel, your seat, or your cantle, depending on where you feel comfortable. And then your left hand is going to grab your reins and basically the crest of their neck, or their mane if you feel comfortable, preferably the crest of their neck. So I want you to feel like what it feels like for me to mount it properly, okay?